Hello, I'm Gufran from ICIT. We are now starting on a fresh topic which is VLOOKUP. So I'd like to introduce, first of all, we are doing the basic of the VLOOKUP here, and then we will be taking you to the advanced level. Now, how does VLOOKUP work? Now, first of all, we have a set of data over here. Imagine that your boss calls you and he says, can you please bring me for each employee in column A the status in column C. For each employee, I want the status in column C. That's what he wants. And he just calls you, he gives you this file, and he says, for each employee, can you please bring in the status and ID over here? And then that's it. So you come to your desk and you see this file, only this file. So what do I need? Obviously, I cannot write status from my own, right? So I have to have another file. I need another set of data where I have the employee's name and their corresponding status and ID. Only then I can do this task for him. But as a functional analyst, I am not supposed to go to back to him and ask him, okay, where is the second set of data? You should be searching for that data in your office. Maybe in the orientation they gave you some information, or maybe you can by seeing the nature of the data over here, you can see who could probably provide you this data. And obviously you can see HR people can provide you this data, right? So now let's say HR people gave you this data here, and you have got the name, status, and ID of the people. Now I can bring the status over here and ID over here for each of the employees that we have here. How do I do this? Now let's assume I don't know VLOOKUP. So how would I bring this information here? Look at this. So mark my words, the way I will do it, exactly the same way I will be doing using the VLOOKUP. So I will match this name, look up this name in this data, and when I find that name, I'll go to the column 2 for status and column 3 for ID. So column 2, I will say Control C copy. I'll go over here and I paste it over here, Control V. Let's assume I'm only doing the status now, okay? Then I will look up this value. Look up what? Match what? Match this Peter. Match this Peter where? In that table. And I'll go over here and I'll say Control F to find Peter, P-E-T-E-R, Peter, and I say enter. So there I find Peter there on line number 25. I will then go to column number 2 of that data and I'll say Control C copy and I'll paste it over here. And then I'll look at the third item here, William, and I'll again go to the data. I'll say look up what? Match this William. Match where? Match in this data table here. And I'll just say Control F and I'll type his name, W-I-L-L-I-A-M, enter, and there it is. And then I go to the column number 2 because that's column number 1 of the table. Column number 2, Control C copy, and then I will put it over here, Control V. Now if any name is not there, then I don't want any status over here. Of course, if this name is not appearing there, I don't want any status over here. Okay, so I want exact match here. So this, what I'm doing right now, VLOOKUP does exactly the same. Alright, so let's see how VLOOKUP works. I'll put my cursor first in the cell where I want my results. I go to, then the two ways of doing it, I can go to the, or more than one ways. I can go to the fx function there, and from here in the drop down, many functions are there. I can select lookup and reference, and from there I can select the last item over there is VLOOKUP. And it says looks for the value in the leftmost column of a table and then returns the value in the same row from the column you specify. By default, the table must be sorted in ascending order. What this means, I will be explaining you in a minute, but that's one way. When I say OK, I get this dialog box and I'll fill it up. Alright. Second way of bringing the VLOOKUP is to go to the formula there and then lookup and reference. Last item is VLOOKUP, and same thing comes up. Looks for the value in the leftmost column, same thing there, and I can fill up this information. And third way is to type the formula is equal to V lookup bracket open, and then it asks you what value to look for and then which table, and you keep on filling up the information by typing the information there. So whichever is suitable for you, you can use any of the methods there. So for me, in the beginner session, I suggest use the dialog box. So let's look at the definition of the VLOOKUP here. So when I go to the fx function there and look up and reference, last item is VLOOKUP there. Now it says looks for the value in the leftmost column of a table. Now which is the table? Is this the table or that data is the table? Is this the table here or is that the table there? Table will always be the data from where you want your results. So my table will be the data table there. Okay. So looks for the value in the leftmost column of a table. What value are we looking? We're looking at the common value. This is the common value there, employee's name. So if I am saying it has to be leftmost, which means that this item has to be the leftmost item in that table there. Now if this table was like this, insert, cut and paste it over here. Okay, and then I'll delete this one here. Let's say if this data was like this, now you can see the name is not the leftmost in that table and the status is on the right, on the left of the item. So this will not work. If I say match this item there in this table and the name is not the leftmost item in the table, this is invalid data. It will not work. Okay, so the answer has to be on the right of the common item that I am trying to match. So in this case, this status has to be on the right of the name. So this will not work. Okay, and if it was like this, if this data was like this, I can say Control X from there, or I can say from here. Shift and Control down, Control X, and let's say I put it over here, Control V. Yes, now the data is on the leftmost, but I will not start my range from here. My range will start from there. Okay, and then third column would be the one I would like to have for the status. So just to mention what that means, leftmost column. Okay, so I will just make it again the same as it was before. Okay, now if I show you again, when I click here and I go to the fx function, lookup and reference, and last item lookup, we look up there, looks for the leftmost column in the table and then returns the value in the same row from the column you specify. You have to count the column and you have to tell which column from that table you would like to bring it over here. Now what that means, for example, I want to match this and I want to bring the status. So I have to count column 1, column 2. If I say column 1, it will give me the name. If I say column 2, it will give me the status. If I say column 3, then it will give me the ID. So it does not know which column of this table you want to bring over there. So you have to tell which column you want. So match what? Match this. Match where? Match in this table. And the item that you're matching has to be the leftmost item in that table. And then when you find it, which column you want column number 2 from there. Don't say column B, column number 2. Okay, you have to count how many columns are there. It could be column number 25, 26, or whatever. In this case 2, right? And then the next thing it is asking you, lookup, right, return the value in the same row from the column you specify. By default, table must be sorted in ascending order. What's that? Where is the table? Table is the data from where you want your results. So it has to be sorted in ascending order. Then what does that mean? Let's see. Now this table has to be ascending order by the common item that you're trying to match, not by the status, not by the ID, but by the common item. But if you are trying to find the exact match, then you don't have to sort it. If you want to find the best match or the approximate match, then you have to sort this table in the ascending order. Exact match means that this item has to appear exactly over here. If it is not there, I don't want it. I don't want anything. And the best match means that if this item is not there, bring me any other name starting with A or near enough to that name. Alright, so in this case I want the exact match, because if that name is not appearing there, I don't want a status for any other person against this name here. So it's the exact match. So now let's see how VLOOKUP works. I'll put my cursor there. I'll go to the lookup and reference. I will click on the VLOOKUP there. Then okay, it's asking you lookup what? Match what? Match this. Then I click here. Then it's saying okay, where do I match? Which table? So I go to the data table here and I select the table. By pressing Ctrl A, is the fastest way to select the data. And as soon as we select the data, we have to put function F4 to put the dollar sign in the whole thing. I have to fix the whole range because this range is fixed both in terms of columns and the rows. When I drag my formula down, I don't want the data to become A8, A9, A10 and then go downwards or go on the side. So this data range is always fixed. So by default, I put function F4 straight away. So match what? Match this person, match where, match in this table. And when you match it, which column do I want? So I count the column 1, 2, 3. I want the status, column number 2. So I type over here, if you bring me column number 2 from there. And now here, lookup range, what does that mean? To find the closest match, you have to type true. Find the exact match, false. I want the exact match for this person. And if it's not there, I don't want anything. So exact match means I have to type false here. But 0 also is equal to false. Alright. If you want to find the closest match or the best match, then you have to type true or 1. 1 is also equal to true. Or you can even leave it blank, it will be true. So I want to say, now read it. Match what? Match this person. Match where? Match in that table. And when you find that match in that table, go to column number 2 and get the corresponding item for this column, for this man over there. And if you don't find it, give me 0 and say OK. Now you can see full time comes up there, and I double click on this here, so it copies my formula all the way down. And you can see I get the status part time or full time based on the name of the employee. You always test check few of them to see whether you got the right answer. Don't assume that it's right. Okay, so it could be wrong. If you had said give me the closest match, still you'll get the answer, but it might not be right. Okay, so that's how we use the VLOOKUP. This is a simple VLOOKUP that we just match this person in that range, and when we find it, I want column number 2 and I want the exact match. So that's my VLOOKUP. Alright, so we will be looking at more advanced function in VLOOKUP in the next exercise here. So hopefully this is helpful for you, and give us your feedback whether you like it or not.